Scott DeWorkin's going to join us momentarily. And but before that, a few moments with Derrick Johnson. Derrick was on with us this week because he was in Ghana without me. Derrick Johnson, president of the NAACP. He's fresh back from Ghana. I think he's probably fresh off the plane. Hey, brother, good morning. How you feel?
Good morning, Mark. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How was the trip?
What an amazing experience. It was far too short, but we are working towards building a strong relationship with the Ghanaian community to recognize the 400th anniversary, not anniversary, recognize the 400th year since the transatlantic slave trade.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And what an amazing opportunity for Africans across the diaspora to recognize the journey we've all come through and reconnect and strengthen our bonds across around the globe.
And this is being called the Year of Return. Tell us, if you could, what are there any? Are they, quite frankly, I mean, put it bluntly, are there any trips or excursions the NAACP is going to be involved in sponsoring next year as a part of the Year of Return?
Possibly so. Part of my reason to attend was as a result of an outreach from the Ghanaian government to talk about the possibility of collaborating next year to create avenues for individuals to return, to participate, to get a full experience during this huge monumental year.
Yeah, and clearly it's too late. The conventions are planned year in advance, man. But I like to see at some point, Derrick, down the road, we ought to have an NAACP convention in Africa.
Yeah. Listen, we toured sites, we looked at possibility, we're exploring. There may be a convention-size activity on the continent. If we can get everything aligned, we hope to build out a true, robust experience for 2019 as a kickoff for an annual activity on the continent. We must, as a community, strengthen our ties with the continent.
Because aren't there chapters aren't there chapters on the continent?
Well, there used to be, not anymore, and that's what we need to be strengthened.
Okay.
And appreciate two significant historical facts. One, the ANC's charter was based on the NAACP's charter. There was ongoing collaboration in 1912 when the ANC was being organized. But even more significant than that, I had the opportunity to go to W.E.B. Du Bois' gravesite.
Yeah.
At W.E.B. Du Bois Institute, because that Ghana was his final resting place.
Right.
And they have an education center there. That's something that we want to take a lot of interest in, because as you move around that country, they recognize him as the thought leader and genius that he was. And we must, in the United States, appreciate the broadness of his intellectual thought around Pan-Africanism and the need for Africans around the world to unite.
Yeah, and that's very, very important. Last year, we haven't had a chance to talk. We got a victory with Thomas Farr's nomination being pulled.
When you said that, I just realized we have not talked, and I want to commend you and your listening audience. You gave the charge when I was on the show that Wednesday to have your audience to call their senators and raise opposition. It was a tremendous victory to stop the appointment of Thomas Farr, someone who would have sat on that court for the rest of his life, reaping havoc in ways in which would have completely subverted much of the gains, particularly around voting rights, we've seen in this country. So it is a tremendous victory. But as the civil rights song says, freedom is a constant struggle. So as we celebrate and pause to pat each other on the back, we must stay ever vigilant.
Right.
There are over 140 vacancies on the federal court.
That's right.
We got to continue to fight.
Derrick Johnson will be with us for his regular segment on next week. We appreciate him checking in with us, fresh back from Ghana. My brother, enjoy. Oh, lastly, Derrick, would you like to say any words with regards to another great activist who contributed a lot to our causes and civil rights, Nancy Wilson?
Wow. I mean, I'm ashamed to admit, I recall growing up watching Nancy Wilson. I say, my wife's going to look like that because she was one beautiful black sister.
Wasn't she?
Just grace and presence. And yeah, that is huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Dr. Chavez was just on before you, and he was talking about how much money she raised for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and I'm sure she gave to the NAACP as well.
She was a life member. She also gave. She also supported. You know, she came from that generation where it was very common for the entertainers, African American entertainers, who they supported civil rights in tremendous ways. Everybody from Lena Horne to Nancy Wilson, it was a part of the culture to do so because they understood that their ability to be in the space in which they were not always treated right.
Yeah.
It was only a result of organizations like NAACP fighting and ensuring that they were treated with the same level of dignity of any other performer.
Yeah.
And what's unique about Nancy Wilson, and it's unfortunate, generations from now, people are going to pick up her music and appreciate her just raw talent, and all of a sudden there's going to be a reemergence. And we see it all the time. I recall when blues kind of died off.
Right.
And now, not even in the African American community, it's so global. Have a lot of blues artists, friends who make a ton of money traveling abroad. They go to Japan, they're like rock stars. When they go to Europe, they're like rock stars. And Nancy Wilson will be one of those type of iconic personalities that into the future, people are going to pick up the music. And they're going to appreciate just the beautiful talent that she offered to this world.
I found a video on YouTube of Nancy Wilson and Ella Fitzgerald and Al Jarreau together at the 1988 NAACP Image Award, y'all. So you all go on YouTube and look that up. You look it up too, Derrick. 1988 NAACP Image Awards. Nancy Wilson, Al Jarreau, and Ella Fitzgerald on stage together. And so that also shows you the power of the NAACP Image Awards. We're going to let everybody know about the NAACP Image Awards too next week, folks, next Wednesday. Derrick Johnson.
And listen, trust me, now that you said, that'd probably be one of the package we put on the show. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you should. That'd be great. Love you, brother. Thank you, man. I know the family's glad to have you back home.
I'm glad to be home. Thank you. Keep up the good work. And I'm glad that you do Black Newspaper Friday with my friend Ben Chavez, my predecessor. That's a good brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. We'll talk next week, Derrick.
Take care.
All right. Folks, coming up next, Law and Order, GRFI. Get ready for impeachment from Russia with Love. Scott Dworkin's joining us. Don't go away. Sirius XM Progress 127, Resistance Radio. Get woke. Get ready for impeachment. This is MIP. From Russia.